All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Excellent Adventures. I'm your host, Reec, live from Media Campus West. We have the principal farmer, Brother Patrick Muhammad, in the building. We've been following each other for a while. He's got an excellent movement. They got a school. They're teaching kids from the ground up, pun intended. He has a farm. He's always dropping lessons. I just saw a lesson. I was just thinking about trees, and I saw you had a lesson about trees and lumber. So we're going to pick his brain today. So it's all around just good people and been following his movement for a little bit. But, man, welcome to the show.
Oh, man, I am indeed honored. It's good to be able to see someone like-minded and like work because we get a chance to understand each other's story, right? And so even though we hadn't physically talked, I'm watching your videos like, yeah, I understand that. I see you talk about your Great Pyrenees. I'm like, yeah, I understand that. So get a chance to participate in this together. It's just an honor.
Right. We kind of talked off camera a little bit about when I first started following you. I saw you and your dad, and then I'm obviously working with mine. It's like enjoyment from two different angles and two different ends.
Absolutely.
I definitely wanted to get into like your whole story, but first let's start from the beginning, man. How'd you get into farming? We usually ask what's your old cluck moment, because it's a lot of chicken people come on. We say, what was the moment you knew you're a chicken person, but you got a whole situation in farm. So what was the moment you knew you were a principal farmer?
Man, I tell you this, my talking to my dad one day, and he said, what are you going to leave your children? Because you can't leave from the principal's parking spot. And I was like, Dad, what are you talking? It's too early in the morning for you to get. And he said, he pretty much knew there was nothing other than the love, experience, and upbringing that he was going to pass on to me. But what have I created that I can pass on to his grandchildren? Okay. So he made me start studying wealth of wealthy families, like what was inside their portfolios. Okay. And inside of the wealthy family portfolios is a farm somewhere.
Wow.
And so that was the moment that he put me on this journey, with some guidance. But I tell you, that first moment I went to visit a farm, and I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this.
Walk us through that moment.
So I met a gentleman who is still my mentor to this day, named Wayne Swanson. He was down in Hampton, Georgia. Swanson Family Farms.
I've heard of them too. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm walking with Wayne. We met on the phone call. That was it, the extent of it. And I'm walking the farm with him. It's 36 acres. And I waited for him to say, like, he had an insurance something or somebody died. I was like, brother, how'd you get this? He was like, man, my family and I ate soup for 3 months. And I was like, soup? It's kind of my staple diet anyway. And he was like, if you are really interested, then I'll show you how to do it.
Right. And
I didn't know that he had made that offer to maybe 20 groups of brothers that had come down before. And I'm just that one that was like, I'll be here Saturday. Yeah. And so that was September 2013. Wow. By December 2013, we had purchased 8 cows in his truck, in his trailer, and took them to his farm.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
That's it. That's what it started with. It started with a conversation, then 8 cows a few months later.
Oh, my goodness. And my wife said something to me. She said, now, you only been knowing Wayne for, at this point, 2 months. If something happens, we can't take these cows to this subdivision. We're still in the subdivision. Right. And so then I began to kind of look to see, okay, where can we go? And you know how things work, man. We just been blessed. The farm that we live on now is 1 mile from where we lived for the last 10 years.
Oh, man. How'd you find it?
I had, I was a principal, living the principal life, had a little Benz. Yeah. And every day I would leave work. This is before we had all this GPS. Right. I would print, I think it's MapQuest.
Like MapQuest. Yeah, I remember MapQuest.
I would pick like 10 to 15 farms, print them out, and I would leave school at 4:00, and I would drive to each farm, get to that, like this location, scratch that off, drive. And I had put almost 100,000 miles on my car.
Looking for farms. And they were probably all kind of spread out.
Oh, they were spread out. I would get to the dirt road, about to run out of gas. Like, if I get break down right. And so finally I got frustrated. And it was April of 2014, right before spring break. Principal, I know spring break. Right. And a farm popped up. And I called a lady, and she was rude. She was like, sir, I just put the sign in the yard, and I just posted it. I'm not showing it today. I said, you did it today? She's like, yes. I GPS said 1 mile, 3 minutes.
Wow.
I drove by Reece. And I took the sign out the yard.
I bet you did.
I said, ain't nobody else gonna see this.
This is mine.
This is mine. And so we end up coming the next day. I put the sign back in the yard. My wife I never went in the house. Wife went in the house. And I was standing outside talking to a gentleman that was there. I thought he was just a helper. And I'm telling my story, talking about my dad, talking about my father-in-law, talking about I want to create generation. And I didn't realize he was texting the owner the whole time.
Oh, wow.
And so the wife came out. I said, what does it look like? Is it good for 98% of humanity?
Right.
I know my wife is different.
She wants it the way she wants it.
You're right. And she said, no, it's okay. We put an offer on. And before we backed out the driveway, they had accepted the offer.
Man, that's God right there.
Oh, man, brother. It has to be. It has to be. So, and that's the reason why it's named Your Faith Farms. We have no formal training, only been inspired, and things have just begun to line up. Ever since we took that step on the farm, we followed that instruction. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, like you said, following the steps, and that's part of it. You learn things, you move on those things you learn, and you modify them to make them work for you. And that's what I've kind of been running into a lot. Yeah.
And even in that, you don't know what you don't know. Right.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, as I'm talking to farmers around the country now, and they'll be like, oh, how's it work with the USDA? And I'm like, I don't know. I tried to get pre-qualified and got denied, got frustrated, tried to get with another bank, you know, and we got qualified, and I bought a house with a big backyard. So I didn't go through the USDA and all, you know. Now that I've been in it for a while, I've done some USDA, but I think that hinders people from starting because they're waiting for the perfect scenario.
And there isn't really one.
It's not a perfect scenario. And as you know, there's no perfect scenario for me.
Right.
Every day is a different day.
Every day is a new movie.
Absolutely.
Adventure. We'll call it that. Every day is a new adventure.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Man, that's cool. I wanted to get into that too, because like you said, I didn't get into it at USDA. I got a house with a big backyard, but how big of a backyard are we talking, just for people in general?
Yeah, coming from East St. Louis, man, my upbringing, your brother has 31 acres.
That's it, man. We got a height bell we use in our entertainment interviews. I'm gonna go on and hit
it.
Because I mean, coming from just having a subdivision backyard to 38 acres in a farm is incredible.
Yeah, it is. And I tell you, until I walked it one time and then turned around and looked back, I was like, man, God, why? Like, what did we do right? And then it's like, okay, what's the weight of this responsibility?
Yeah.
And then the reality hits because, you know, I had a lawn man when I was at the subdivision.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lawnmower.
Yeah.
So Reece, after that first good rain, and that grass was
starting to
6,
get tall.
7, 8 feet
taller than you.
Oh my goodness! And it was like, what I'm gonna do? Right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Home Depot. I'm gonna buy me a zero turn. I couldn't even cut with the zero turn.
Yeah, that's
so we went 2.5 to 3 years before I could afford a tractor.
Right.
And so my cows were more than just cows; they were lawn care.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you get behind, as you know, if you get behind in these farming tasks, like there's no weekend, there's no holiday, there's no PTO.
Yeah.
Like the farm is the farm 24 hours, 7 days, 365.
Right.
And so it's been humbling.
Yeah, I bet. I read something yesterday where this gentleman was talking about he looked up because he was getting older and he wanted to give some of his kids like that, right? But he was saying that I wanted to tell them what career paths they can go down that could make you happy. He said the top career path was farming. He said out of thousands of people that they interviewed, farmers were the ones that seemed to be happy and found the most reward for their work. But it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
So is that true for you?
Yeah. I was talking to someone today and actually I'm going over the schedule. How do you do it? The farm recharges you every time you interact with it.
Okay.
Right?
I'm noticing that myself. I'm experiencing that.
Yeah. So when like yesterday, I drove home and I pulled in the driveway and my horses are following the truck, you know,
right.
And then the cats are crisscrossing and the dogs are there and the chickens and they're dependent of you. Right. And so, you know, very humbly, we have dominion. We shouldn't have dominance.
Yes.
But we have dominion. So once that relationship to where they need you and then you provide for them, then they give you nothing but, you know, pleasure. And so the farmer's like a way to escape reality every day.
Mm.
And then being around life, when you see that flower open up, when you hear that bird in the morning, when you see the insect, you hear the bullfrog at night, being all around all that life, you can't help but be full of, and get with the rhythm of the earth. And so the work is it. It is. But every day you get up with a new energy because you're going to get something back from the work.
I definitely see that. How can you not enjoy life when you're around so much of it? And it's more of a natural bit of life. Yeah. Like people, it's a million people. Like you said, you from East St. Louis, I'm from Jersey. It's a lot of people in one spot. That's a lot of life, but it's also a lot of stresses and problems and situations.
Absolutely. Brother Reece, I tell you, my daughter went to Spelman and graduated. My son's at Morehouse now.
Congrats
and I went down to do something, take him something. And it was so many people and busy. And I was like, I need to get back to the farm.
Yeah,
right?
that's how I'm starting to feel. Yep.
Yes. And so one of the things I've gained is the understanding of noise pollution and light pollution.
Okay.
Right? And so I didn't really understand what it was before. But especially in the evening, there's no noise at the farm except the noise is supposed to happen. Right. Right.
And if you hear a noise, it's not, I need to check on that noise.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. And I'm gonna pause for a second. And that's why we have to keep something with a heightened sense around us. Yes. So your dogs and I understand cats more because your cat will tell you like,
that ain't
what
right.
You running for?
Right.
Whoa. The dog might be asleep and then react, but that cat's could be like, I just heard something. So you got to keep things with heightened senses around you because they'll let you know. But the noise pollution and then the light pollution. So we go out at night, man. Beautiful, summer nights, and you can see every star out there. It's beautiful.
It's like an open sunroof.
Oh man, I like that. It's definitely an open sunroof. Yeah. Yes, I like that.
And that's amazing, man. I feel like I could talk about these things with you all day because I'm kind of living and experiencing it, but I know also whoever's watching this, they may have a dream. And this is inspiring. You're telling me I'm a school principal. I'm staying in the subdivision. I meet somebody who is helpful. And that's another thing I want to talk about. People in this industry or life seem to be way more helpful. No matter what color they are or way more helpful.
Yeah. Reece, I have to echo you with that because a farmer understands the plight of another farmer. And I had some buddies ride me one time. I went to buy a rooster, off crazy or whatever. And we pull up like off the road on a dirt road, like behind a couple of trailers through a fence. And my buddy was like, you got something with you? I was like,
right. No.
I'm going to, man, and so the gentleman comes out, doesn't look very like
friendly.
Right. And then we start talking chicken talk. And he was like, oh man, I got
this. Open up like a book.
Man, he gave me some more guineas, gave me a free something.
See?
And that's the part that I appreciate because a farmer understands another farmer. Now I have to tell you this. The first time I went to an auction, it's on a Monday out here, right?
Yeah.
And so principals, I leave during lunchtime. I walk into the auction in a 3-piece suit. So this black dude walking this auction in a 3-piece suit, the auction stops.
Music stops.
And so I think it's intermission. So I go to my seat, I'm kind of looking around, and then it starts back, and I realize like everybody else is in overalls.
Plaid shirts, jeans.
But outside of that experience, we've had some situations with we were a little too successful in the meat business, and we ran into some. But overall, I can say 8 out of 10 of every experience has been very rewarding in this space.
And that's what I see too. Obviously, I'm Muslim like you, and I don't eat pigs, but I have pigs because we have a rescue farm, right? And the first one I went to get, it was at a same type situation. I'm pulling down. I had somebody with me. We're in this little van. You know what I mean? I'm pulling into the neighborhood, and it's dirt road. It's big Trump flag in the driveway and American flags everywhere, which, patriotism is patriotism. Absolutely. Love your country, right?
Absolutely.
But we know sometimes there's a stigma when you see certain things, right? So I get out the car and it's like everybody on the porch look, about 8 people on the porch, they look, and I got out and I said, this the pig? He said, oh yeah. I mean, immediately the wall dropped. He got out, he came, shook my hand, he was showing me around. He said, hey, I got this. If you want some goats, I got an extra goat. And that's kind of how it happened. And then we became text buddies based based on different information. So I definitely, it's almost like the great equalizer.
That's what you said is truly it. That situation when I went with that cow, and I made some money, but I ain't making enough money, right? Because I thought the weight was $117 per pound.
Okay,
and I got happy, and I was like, this cow, the steer that we took was 700 pounds.
Okay,
I text the wife like, girl, we
got a $7,000 payday. I did the math on my head. We had all 7-8 grand almost, right?
So I go to the cashier. Remember, I'm in my suit, right? I go to the cashier and I give her. They give you a ticket. So I give her the ticket. I'm like, yeah. She's like 100, 200, 300. I'm like, yeah, 400, 500, 20. 10,
well, hold on now.
There's some change, right? So I look at it and I said, oh, man, my ticket is ticket number so-and-so. She's like, that's the ticket? I said, but
how does this work?
Right. She said, baby, this is your first time. I said, yeah. She said, it's per 100 pounds.
Oh, okay.
Now, Reece, I'd already texted the wife and told her what I'm about to bring home. I was so embarrassed. I went by the ATM and asked her more money just so I could save face when I walked in the house.
Oh, man.
So I go, at this point, the farm in front of me is 117 acres. And there's a gentleman leasing the farm.
Okay.
And he has another, I don't know, he had about 180 cows over there.
Yeah.
So I had watched him load up on Sunday with cows, come back on Monday with different cows. So when I asked him, he told me to go to the auction. So I did what he did, but my money ain't
adding up, right?
So I got nervous one day. I was like, this ain't gonna work. So I went to ask him. I said, hey, and this is a Caucasian man.
Right.
I went to say, hey, I did what you told me to do.
Right.
But man, I only got like $500. If these cows, if I do,
right,
I'm
feeding them.
I ain't made nowhere near my investment. And he said, you're too small. You gotta sell by the pound. And I'm thinking to myself, that's exactly what I did.
That's what I thought I did.
But that he was telling me, go to a processor and then get it cut up and then sell to my customer base. But Reece, when I tell you that saved my farm and it saved Wayne's farm.
Wow.
Because at that point we had pets.
Yeah.
That we were trying to get into what's the financial aspect of this because we didn't know.
Right.
But selling by the pound and going to USDA processor, getting them steaks. Now I'm slinging steaks, right?
Right.
I'm breaking the weight down.
You're the steak man.
I'm the steak man. And so we went from that 500-pound whole animal, we went in $500, we went to making $2,800 to $3,800 by processing the cow.
Wow. And
that actually saved because I had you talk about you buy one chicken, you buy too many. Brother, the same scenario with cows.
Yeah.
Because we went from 8 cows to 40 cows in like a 2.5 year period. But Reece, that first winter, when I have enough grass, because I had
hay, right?
$1,600 every 2 weeks.
Whoo, for 40 cows.
My wife was like, what do you, I was like, it's going to pay off. And when I took that cow and they got $500, I was like, something ain't bad off.
Man.
But being able to process by the pound, that really saved us.
That's what's up, man. That's great to know. So you talk to this guy, he says, sell about a pound, you find a processor. What was that process like trying to go find it?
Yeah, it was interesting because we're still in this, there's no book for dummies, right? And so you kind of keep talking around spaces for somebody to give you that one little nugget of information, and then you got to go research. And so we found out that you have to go to a USDA processor because somebody will process a cow for you, but don't go sell that thing. You'll be in trouble.
Right.
So you got to go to a USDA processor, start calling and getting dates, and then learning what that looks like. So when you pull up with a cow, you got to know what your cut sheet is. You know what a cut sheet is.
Right. So I don't either. I'm learning today years old what a cut sheet is.
So when you pull up with your cow, you're gonna pull up and they weigh in your trailer with the animal, and then they either weigh your trailer without it or they'll have a scale. So when the animal goes through whatever, you go back into the office and the young lady gonna say, what's your cut sheet? So if you have 1 inch steaks, 1.5 inch steaks, 2 inch steaks, you're gonna tell them what you want. I want all ground, or I want 100 pounds in ground. I want T-bones, ribeyes, porterhouse. I want my bones back. I learned that too, right? Then I was happy. Let me get the skin. It was the hide, so get the hide. I was about to go hang it up on wall.
I'm making carpets too.
I'm thinking I'm making 100% profit off this animal. But then from there, you got to get vacuum sealed and the USDA stamp. Reece, that stamp is so important.
Okay.
because meat is regulated just like drugs.
Okay.
And you do not want to be slanging those steaks and you have not had them properly processed.
Okay.
Okay, so once you do that, they're going to charge you maybe 57 cents a wrapped pound, vacuum sealed pound,
Yeah.
or they might charge you, $1, depending.
Right.
And so once we got those dates and kind of went through it, now you got to have a customer base.
Right.
And so my customer base became farmers markets,
Mhm.
and then we start going door to door. And once the word gets out there, you're out there. Now, the quality of your meat, this is where it kicks in.
Yeah.
Because our meat, because we didn't know no better, was 100% grass fed.
Okay.
Because we didn't know no better.
Right.
So the quality of meat, once the processor would cut it, they look, oh, y'all got some good meat. I guess.
You didn't know why, but now you know why.
Yes, because when you start doing the corn and the fillers, that meat is different, right?
Yeah.
The fat content, I don't know about no fat content
Right.
percentages. I just know the cow, it was big and I'm about to bring it in.
Right.
And so once we began to learn that, then we realized we have a very good product. And now we have to market our price point to match on that. That's when we became a threat to the meat industry in Atlanta.
Okay, so now you got beef.
Yeah, now, bro, you right beef. On it.
Tell me about that. What was that experience like? Because you knew you coming into this new, you flying blind almost, but you coming into the game, the meat game, with a great product.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And just positive attitude.
What's our brother? Frank Lucas?
Yeah.
We came with the pew-pew and didn't know. Right?
Right.
So Wayne and I, we would always share dates. We started one farm, two locations, right?
Yeah.
So he'll get a date, I'll get a date. Anyway, so one day he goes to drop off the cows.
Yeah.
2 of mine, 2 of his, whatever. He called me and say, Pat, they say we can't process. And you had to call 2-3 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
We had to load these animals. You got them on the barn, you waiting, you want to get out the barn, they tearing stuff up, you get them in the trailer out. We don't know. He's there.
Yeah.
They would not allow him to unload. Oh, somebody bought off the floor. We come back in 2 months. Okay. So we got to wait 2 months. So we start calling the next processor. What's the name of your farm? Swanson Family Farm, Your Faith Farms. We don't have no dates.
What? Yeah.
We called the next one. It had got to a point we could not process in Georgia.
Wow.
Now, imagine for a good year run.
Everything is smooth.
We got customers. Now we got all these cows, no customers. We back to this hay again. Right. So we ain't flipping.
Right.
And so down and out, I'm talking again. I mentioned to a brother, and he said, man, we should go to Fort Valley. So we literally drove, not even cold call. We cold show up. We showed up to Fort Valley and was like, this man right here has cows. We're Black farmers. We've been processed. They wanted to process. We heard y'all can process.
Yeah.
And the brother was like, yeah, y'all can process anytime. You talking about happy.
I know you were. And that's just proximity for those who aren't Georgia. Fort Valley is a 2.5-hour trip. It's a college down there that's an agricultural college. And it's HBCU.
HBCU.
Right.
So imagine a principal leaving the school for 2 hours to go down, drop off, 2 hours to come back.
Yeah.
And then 3-4 days later, 2 hours. So that was I had some strain on that.
Right.
But the brother said, y'all can come. And it was good. I mean, we were doing like 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It's going good. But our customer demand is where we need to come every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So then we got to a point where Fort Valley was like, listen, we're doing this for you all as a convenience, but this is not our business model. This is a school.
Yeah.
So you can bring 1 cow between the 2 of you all and 4 sheep.
Yeah.
Every 4 months.
Ooh, that ain't going to do it.
Lord, that's not going to do it.
Right.
And so that's why you hear me sometime I say less is best. At that point, I had to focus on the school. Wayne had to focus on expanding our model.
Yes.
And then we scaled down. And we had to tell our customers we have to go a different direction. And that's when I start to learn about the grants and everything.
Okay.
And you hear people, especially in our space, everybody's talking, oh, you go get a grant. And it sounds good.
It sounds great.
Right. But the reality of it. So we start going after processing grants to get enough money before grants. We was like, man, we just fund our own processing, right? We're going to do a shipping container. We'll do. No.
Don't work like that.
Don't work like that. That USDA inspector that you pay, you got to pay that inspector, and the facility has to have the right facility. And that amount is probably going to start at $500,000.
Wow. For a process just to get it started.
Just to get it started.
Right.
And if you're going to do it right, if the processor reflected how good the studio, we had 3.5 million.
Wow.
Right. And so now, we really had to start looking, okay, where's the grants? And that's when we began to learn the grant game.
Got you. Was that issue ever alleviated with the processing situation? Sounds like a no. We're going to go to the next question.
It's a no, but we had a moment, I'm going to say about a month ago. Wayne got a call from the restaurants that were buying out the floors so we wouldn't come. Yeah. He got a call to say, can we order some meat from you all? Because the quality of meat that we have, they haven't seen, and now they want to partner. Okay. And that's almost a 5-year period. Yeah. But now it's coming back full circle. Okay. Consistency.
Yeah, consistency. Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's amazing. Congratulations on that. Because I know going through all that teaches you learn, but also we would like to see some light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially when you got a wife at home.
Yeah. That's a couple of points I want to hit because I want to talk to you about the sheep. Okay, I want to talk to you about that because I've seen you promote that and talk about that too, and the difference between the sheep and the cows. But I do want to say I've been meeting a lot of farmers, right? And what I've noticed is they seem to live a long time, and almost everybody's married.
Yes, and outside of you and I, they got a lot of kids.
Yeah, a lot of kids. Yeah.
Now I'm glad I got into the farming. I think we're married. Let's see. We're married 15 years. So we got to a point. But I understand why farmers you need help.
Yeah. They're making their own, workforce. I got you.
I have seen that farmers, especially when you get that green thumb, because I didn't start off with a green thumb. I was raising animals.
Yeah, same here. I don't have one yet. So I grew a pumpkin by accident last year, and I got very excited.
Brother, I got excited one time. I grew some sunflowers and okra, and I was at some garden meeting. I was like, I grew sunflower okra. Everybody looked at me like, anybody could do that. I was happy as I could be. They were like, that's the easiest thing. So I'm light green now.
Light green, there you go.
But once you taste something that you put a seed in the ground, and it actually, and then the abundance, brother, I've seen a cucumber vine. To where I know I pour cucumbers for 2 weeks and it keeps giving. Wow. Right. And then that's humbling.
That is. That is.
And so when you're eating, like during the pandemic, and I know it was tough for a lot of families. Yeah. The pandemic, our health increased tremendously because we were literally eating
what you grew. Right. And you can taste the difference. You can feel the difference.
You can feel the difference. My wife cans. Yeah. So sometimes we'll pop some tomatoes as 9 months old. Yeah, because she's canned. From the beans to the squash. So that's been. So I see why farmers live a long time. But that relationship with the spouse is important because you got to have some reassurance because it can be daunting. Yeah, I went to a period, Reece, to where the reason I got into Great Pyrenees.
Okay. So stuff was coming up missing.
Oh man, I was raising Presa Canarian. Yeah. And my first animal on the farm was Queen, a Presa Canarian I got from Wayne's farm. Yeah. Queen is my best friend, animal friend. Yeah. Well, Queen was the first animal. Even though we had the cows we're gonna bring, Queen was
the first. Yeah.
So for 2 years, man, I was blaming the coyotes, the raccoons, the possums for all the dead chickens, goats, baby calves, everything, right? I'm like, these coyotes are terrible,
They're
right?
killing me.
And so I had gone away for a couple weeks to do a program. And I came back, and my wife was like, Queen is different. And I was like, yeah, she probably just missed me. She's like, no, I think she be killing stuff. Don't be saying nothing about no Queen. Right. Queen wouldn't do nothing like that.
Queen ain't never touched a soul.
Oh, man. So she had some puppies, and I had her in a spot, and I took her out to get some air, girl, running around. And she came back from behind the barn and had blood on her mouth. And I had a male Presa Canarian named King, King and Queen. Right. And I was like, King, what you bite my girl? Beating King up. He looked at me like, what's wrong with you? So Queen, go in there with your babies. Reece, I walked around the barn and I saw a 1,500-pound Black Angus cow bleeding from the neck. Oh, man. And at that moment, all 3-4 years of Queen started flashback. And I started seeing all those dead animals. I could hear me telling my wife, oh, she's just cleaning up something that was dead. Oh, she would do. I went to Craigslist on my phone. Yeah. free dog.
Free dog. Yep.
I gave her away, and I had been I didn't know about Great Pyrenees really. I watching videos.
Yeah. You're trying to figure out your best LSG, right?
And I remember passing through Fayetteville periodically and seeing a farm. There's a big white thing laying in the pasture. And I was like, man, so I slowed up one day and I took a picture of the dog. I was like, what kind of dog is this? And I found it was a Great Pyrenees. So you go back to Craigslist, because this is before Facebook marketing kind of got high.
Right.
And this guy was selling a Great Pyrenees for $100, 1-year-old.
Yeah.
So I go, and this man had 300 chickens, 400 ducks. When I tell you,
everything everywhere.
And the dog was just sitting there. I was like, that's what I need.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought Champ. My dog's name is Champ. I bought Champ for $100.
Man, that's a steal,
brother. When I
for a
tell
good farm dog,
Champ, who's 9 now. Champ probably, now my number really is off, at least 62 babies around the country.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Champ, and we'll have to talk about this off air, but Champ was dead for 3 days, but he's still alive now. Right. That was 2 years ago. And he's produced he is phenomenal, even though he's frail now. And his offspring, I mean, they own it. They own it. And so I don't do Presa Canaries anymore.
Right. Clearly not.
Or German Shepherds or Belgian Malinois. They're all great dogs in their right. Right. But I am a hands down believer in the Great Pyrenees.
Yeah, I love that. My one is scared to life of my goats, but the other one, I think he's built for it tough.
He's built for
it tough, because the other one, the goats bully her a little bit, but she is very alert, but she's a roamer. Yeah. So I mean, take off. I might not see her for 3 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, mine are known in the South Florida area. My Champ and his son, and I'm glad he's getting older now. They had a standing appointment at Waffle House at 3 a.m.
Oh wow!
That I didn't know.
Okay.
And so I guess for some reason they didn't come back, because they would always be in the driveway and I leave in the morning. But first I didn't see my dog. So my wife texted me one day. She's like, hey, one of her parents says, I think I see your dogs getting in the dog pound truck. Man. So I go and get them or whatever. And it's like, yeah, man, they up here every day. I'm like, every day? They're like, yeah. And so I go to the Waffle House and he's like, oh yeah, they come. We make plates for them. I said, please.
That's why. Please
don't
stop.
Make these plates for them.
Then they're gonna keep coming.
Yeah, they'll keep coming. So that's probably a mile and a half from the house, right? But and for the viewing and listening audience, the difference in between the Great Pyrenees and other dogs I've used on the farm, if you're the threat, the Great Pyrenees are gonna come and say, Reece, stay back, you can't come. But they're gonna stay in between you and the livestock. Okay. Yeah. My German Shepherds will go and get engaged. They in a fight. They come back all bleeding. My Presa Canaries probably go kill something, come back bleeding. Now, if you keep coming closer to the livestock, then it's on. It's on. But they're smart enough to keep, especially if you do them in pairs. Yeah. If that pair get, like sometime Champa bark and then Fluffy's like, oh, okay, Dad. And he'll go out and engage, and then Champa stay. Okay. But my greatest deterrents are the girls. Okay. Those girls will go out there, brother, and you hear them like, oh Lord, but they'll go out there and do what they need to do, and then Fluffy will come and be the strength. But that, and then they produce very well. Every generation of Champ, I've seen just a stronger, smarter, faster, quicker, more alert dog. And so as an animal matures, that seed has that same DNA, that mature DNA. And it's very rewarding to see.
It's almost like AI, like it learns as it goes.
It learns as it goes.
The version is even better.
Yeah.
Champ 2.0.
Champ 2.0. Yes. Champ 2.0.
That's really good to hear. It's hopeful for me, because I'm getting into it and I got these dogs and I can see how they create their own fences. Like, so that makes so much sense. And I got a pair, so I'm feeling good about that.
Yeah, you just said fencing.
Fencing is a thing.
Oh my goodness. Reece, I'm an educator, and I played basketball at college, so I'm gonna give that, right? So, but I'm an educator by trade.
Same way I did too.
You play, okay, see, so I'm an educator, right? One, I didn't have no tools when I moved to the farm. You know, you get the Father's Day tools.
Yeah,
I had it on sale.
The little kit
from Sears. Right. You know, none of that works.
Not T-posting hammers. None of that stuff. None of that.
I get my first NRCS equip.
Yes.
Okay. And the lady says you need to run 900 feet with your T-post and your 4x4 fence. It needs to be stretched at the tension rate of so-and-so.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what
is she talking? She's talking Chinese to me.
Yeah, she's talking.
Right.
So, you don't want to be embarrassed. I go in with my farm boots on the Tractor Supply one day. I'm looking like a farmer. I'm
right.
2 years in the game. I'm looking like a farmer. And I'm looking, what is a T-post? Like, what is she talking about?
900 feet of T-post is a lot of T-posts.
Oh, my goodness. So, because of financial reasons,
right,
my wife and my 2 sons about to stretch this 900 feet.
Right.
But I'm thinking I can just tie it to the truck and pull 900 feet.
No,
that didn't work. Then I put one T-post down and tie it in, pull it, then the T-post come out the ground. I didn't know what an H brace was, so that learning curve that you have, I'm glad we went this way.
Yeah.
That learning curve. So now when someone reaches out, I can tell them the most efficient way to do something.
Okay.
Right. So they don't have to be guessing and wasting money. I bought some fence one time. I bought the fence that's not with the red line up top.
The black one that breaks and pops. That's what I got jipped into. I built my first fence. I said, I'm trying to keep these ponies and goats in, and I want to build this. And they like, okay, we can do it. And they put the hardware wire, not the red with the red. They put the black one. Yeah. And my ponies broke through that the second day. The goats broke through it probably before the people left.
Absolutely. So that learning curve between, and we have a horse story with it too. So there is a reason why it says a horse fencing, goat fencing, sheep fencing, cow fencing, because our 4x4 square fencing was good for cows.
Yeah.
Reece, when I moved to horses, one of my horses got their foot with a horseshoe stuck in the 4x4, lost a whole hoof.
Dang.
I'm talking like I saw the dog with the hoof in the mouth.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Lord. Then I saw the horse walking. I was like, oh, Lord. Then that horse came 3-legged, and all you saw was just
knuckle.
Oh, my goodness.
Man.
And she stayed alive for another 6 months because it'll grow back. But, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't do horseshoes anymore. So people say, why you don't do horseshoes? I got a story for it. But there's different fencing for different species and
for a reason.
And we have to respect it. And then that helps you with your plan. So if your plan is to stay with sheep, or your plan is to go to goats, or your plan, you want to have a plan, because if not, you got to tear down this fence. You got to redo this fence. So I think the 2x2 red wire is the most universal. Okay. Because if you ever switch, you don't have to worry about it.
I'm glad you said that. Now I know 2x2 wire, because we about to do fences.
Yes, and now it's a little more pricier, but over time, it doesn't matter what you swap out. You can swap the ponies, you can go there, the big horses, the cow. It doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Now, goats is the challenge,
because if water can get through it, goats can get through it.
Brother, I liked what you just said. I never thought about it, but that is absolutely, we've gotten in and out of goats 3 times.
Yeah.
Because, somebody be like, oh, that's a cute goat. That would be nice. So we've gotten in and out of them 3 times. The second time, they ate all my wife's hibiscus. I'm talking like 40 plants.
Good
that
God,
got to about 2.5 feet tall. It was
about to bloom, about to go.
One afternoon. I mean, wiped it all out.
Destroyed 5 months of progress.
Yes, and so what I share with farmers is goats are cute, whatever. But if you got 5 goats and you got 100 sheep, I can move this one sheep, and the other 99 are going to follow. These 5 goats, they're going to go 99 different ways. Yes. Right? And then they don't distinguish between what they're going to consume, right? Like sheep are not really going to, they might get on their hind legs every now and then, but goats are going to consume everything that's in their path. Wow. And so for homesteading and for clearing brush, they're excellent. Yeah. But you want to be mindful that you got to keep an eye on them goats.
Gotcha. Okay. So we'll be moving the sheep soon. All right. Man, we could go for 5 hours.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have to do a part 2 and part 3 if that's all right with you.
Oh, man,
I'll bring you back.
I'd be honored.
We're going to do a part at your farm and a part of my farm.
Oh, that'd be phenomenal.
I love it. I love that, man. The principal farmer, Pat Muhammad, friend of the show, friend of Swiney Farms.
That's right. That's right.
I want everybody to support him, follow him across all social media platforms, and keep buying that meat from them.
That's right.
And we definitely gonna talk and chop it up because I want to talk to you about get in depth in the fence and get in depth into the meat and how to move and all that stuff too. But I appreciate you coming by today.
Man, it's an honor. I look forward to doing it again.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
This has been a very excellent version of Excellent Adventures.